In 2004, the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority participated in an economic development delivery analysis study completed by Hammer, Seiler, and George. That study identified that one of the shortfalls in the community's economic development delivery system was the growing number of vacant brownfield properties and lack of shovel-ready sites available for opportunities for development. And no single economic development agency had been focused in this area. As a result of this study, the Board of Directors of the Port Authority committed funding to create a division within the Port Authority that would focus on identifying, acquiring, remediating, and redeveloping strategic former industrial properties in the community. To date, the Port Authority has acquired more than 300 acres of former industrial property and has completed all environmental remediation on those properties, investing more than $15 million for acquisition and remediation costs.
The first brownfield acquisition by the Port Authority was in 2005 and focused on the former Toledo Coke property, a 50-acre site located on Front Street in East Toledo. The former Toledo Coke site had a long history of industrial development and was a severely contaminated property requiring substantial cleanup and investment. That property has now been remediated, and 2 long-term tenants have been approved by the Board of Directors to lease that property. In 2008, the Port Authority acquired the 182-acre former Chevron property also on Front Street and has subsequently begun an investment of more than $18 million into that property to expand the operations of the Port of Toledo and to a development-ready site for transportation-dependent development opportunities. The site has been leased to Midwest Terminals and will be the new home of the Ironville Dock, more than doubling the storage and handling capacity of the Port Authority's seaport operations. The most recent and visible brownfield acquisition by the Port Authority is the 110-acre former Jeep manufacturing site that has manufacturing roots dating back to the late 1800s. This property, located on I-75 with Class 1 and short-line rail access, is an ideal location as a shovel-ready site for industrial development, including manufacturing and warehouse and distribution operations. The Board of Directors will consider a public-private development partnership at next week's board meeting for the redevelopment of this site, which is anticipated to begin in 2013.
To date, the largest project the Port Authority has become involved with has been the acquisition of the former G Parkway site. The Port Authority has acquired more than $9 million in grants to redevelop this site. The first phase has been to go in and to address environmental concerns on the property. Once that was done, the redevelopment aspect began in terms of the Port Authority going in and removing underground structures. These large concrete structures really would have prevented new foundations from being put in place in terms of new buildings. Right now, the final phase that the Port Authority is looking at is seeking a developer to work with us on vertical construction, which we hope to begin in spring of 2013.
Several years ago, the Ohio Department of Transportation identified the need to construct a more modern, efficient, and centrally located garage and administration facility to service western Lucas County. In early 2012, ODOT approached the Port Authority seeking a public-public partnership in constructing such a new facility. With our history of experience in construction management and financing, ODOT recognized that the Port Authority could help streamline the design and construction of the proposed facility. And earlier this year, the Board of Directors authorized a development agreement with ODOT and a construction contract with Rudolph Libby for a $5.5 million facility. A groundbreaking is expected in the next 2 weeks. Working with the Port Authority through a design-build strategy saved ODOT as much as $2 million and will deliver the facility 18 to 24 months sooner than ODOT would have been able to achieve through their standard design-bid-build process. In December 2011, the Port Authority completed the acquisition of the City of Toledo's parking garages and assumed operation of the entire parking system, including 3 parking garages and metered on-street parking. Since January of this year, the Port Authority has invested approximately $1 million in revenue control automation, new energy-efficient lighting, and more than 400 new solar-powered state-of-the-art parking meters offering a more flexible and customer-friendly experience, including the ability to pay via credit card or by cell phone. In just 9 short months, the Port Authority and the Downtown Toledo Development Corporation have worked as partners to upgrade the parking system to current standards, and the operation is now a model of best practices in the parking industry.
During the last couple of years, a number of times the parking operations were put up to the market, and we were thinking about having those sold, and we being the administration. We on the private side were not really in favor of that, because a number of companies from outside of Toledo were looking at coming in and really buying those parking garages. The beauty of this public-private partnership is that now we have locally the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority in an ownership position on these garages.